I'm excited about this. I did not expect it to work this well. Hey, I'm Tony. This is Tony's Tractor Adventure. We got the Gizmo dog here with me supervising, and Tanya's behind the camera doing the great camera work that she always does. Today we're going to answer a question, and it's a question I got a whole lot. We got the Baumolite, it's a 3P24 articulating stump grinder. When I say articulating, it moves left and right, up and down using hydraulics. And then it uses a PTO to spin the cutter. So that's the question, will it work on the T25? Well, the T25 is rated at 1,500 pounds at the 3-point hitch. So I think we got it covered there. I do, however, just in all seriousness, I do know this back there when we're going through the woods. I can feel that weight because it's not only is it about, I think about 600 pounds or so, but it's further out because the head's so far out. So you kind of feel that going through the woods, but never felt unsafe at all. So again, we've tried it on the T474 and it did great, exceptionally great on that because it had plenty of horsepower. And we also tried it on the 2515, which I thought did pretty well. But again, that is a big frame 25 horsepower tractor, and it has, on the books, it has a little more PTO horsepower, not much. But okay, on a side note, you're gonna need dual rear remotes, which is the cheaper way to go if you already have them on your tractor. So we have the Summit dual rear remote. This is electronic over hydraulic. So we push these buttons and it allows the hydraulics to work those two rear remotes. Now, Baumolite makes a kit where you can have a single rear remote with a detent. You turn that your main rear remote on and detent it on, and then it has two valves and you can operate it with those little valves. Very similar to the trencher we have. Either you're gonna buy it to the kit that runs off of a single rear remote, or you can get it like this, which is a little bit cheaper when you buy it without that kit. But your tractor will have to provide the dual rear remote. I really like this Summit kit. We've had really good luck with it. It's been on here for it was on our other 25 horsepower tractor. So we've owned this for about 4 years and it's never failed. And just for the record, we're not sponsored by Summit anyway. It just works, I like it. All right, so this is an oak tree. This is red oak. It's got a lot of rot in it, but it was a live tree. We cut it down because it did have some damage to it. But there's some good wood in this as well. I guess I could take the chainsaw and knock this off, but because we're demonstrating this, I'm just going to back up to it and take this down all the way. Also, it's rotten. A lot of it's rotten. I don't think it's going to be that hard. Could be mistaken. I'm going to pop the top up on this so it throws the stuff further back and don't throw it at you. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's okay to throw it straight back. That's a really big cut. All right, so if you can see here, I'm way too low for this first cut because this stump's so high. And it bucked and kicked a little bit, but I can tell you already that front part of that stump is red oak and it's solid. It's gonna do really well. I guarantee it's gonna do really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this out. It's hard to see. You know, that's always the problem with a stump grinder like this. It's kind of hard to see, and I'm turning around backwards. And this stump is entirely too tall. You would not normally want to start out with a stump this tall. And but I was pretty impressed that one part is about 6 inches wide, and we cut down 6 inches wide, but we cut down another 6 inches. So we're basically cutting a 6x6. So we'll continue on. All right, first impressions, that is freaking awesome. This worked way better than I ever dreamed it would. And I'll tell you what, this is fine. This is great. But the thing that has really made this so awesome is this Summit kit. I told you I was going to like it, and it has been good. But the controls are just right at your fingertips. You're just, you know, as soon as you hear a little change in the engine, you can just let up or back off. It's just moving 2 fingers back and forth. That really is so much easier than using manual valves that are on the big tractors. I was really impressed with that. Now, another benefit to how this is working, like on some of the stump grinders you have, Baumlite makes one that's just I think it's just a 24-inch stump grinder that you drive back and forth. Well, when you are driving back and forth using your stump grinder, you're actually taking some of your PTO horsepower away because you're moving your drivetrain. Well, this one, you set this down and you're basically getting almost all 25 horsepower directed to your stump grinder because you're just moving the stump grinder back and forth. You might be using a little bit of power for the hydraulics, but not much. And again, this was red oak. I got it. I know somebody's gonna say, well, that right there there was some rot in there. And it was. No, there was some rotten wood in there, but there was also some hard red oak in there. But because I know there's gonna be somebody that says, well, that was too easy, we're gonna go over here and hit this red oak that wasn't so dead. So I'm really excited about this, and I think the thing that makes it so good, you can just, by pushing the buttons, you're just moving it back and forth real easy, but also you can adjust how fast this comes across and how fast like if you got a lot of horsepower, you can have it come across fast. If you're a 25 horsepower tractor like this, you adjust this down where the head moves a little bit slower. So this little stump right here, we would probably charge somebody a couple $100 if we brought our equipment out for that stump. We did that in like, well, less than 10 minutes. So yeah, 10 minutes, a couple $100. I think this right here is a nice way to make some extra money. Unfortunately, we've only got about 16,000 stumps here on our own property to get rid of, so that's why we need it. All right, Tanya, what do you say we go down the hill and attack something a little bit more dramatic? All right, so right here is the next one we're gonna do. This is a white oak. If you guys know anything about white oak, it's considerably harder. The outside of this tree was alive. It was hollow in the center, and that's the reason we took it down, because we didn't want it to fall in the cabin. But if you know anything about oaks, white oak is one of the hardest oaks there is. All right, it's got gas in it, that's good. Love using good gas. Use good gas, it always starts. So this is the life of a video creator. My wife's over here like, hey, you gotta cut some of these little trees down so we can see what's going on. That's not like real world what would happen. All right, because we're going to be right here, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. I'm going to make it an assumption it's going to take this out, and then we'll go ahead and love that chainsaw. The old Echo, been around forever. I had to put a clutch on it. Other than that, it just keeps on going. So it's really muddy. We've had a lot of mud here, and there is mud built all up under that thing. So I'm going to carry it to pressure wash it out, but still doing a great job. This was probably 18-inch white oak, and that's all that's left. There's that little piece of root, which is probably about 8 inches under. This is red oak, and this one was completely healthy. This tree was completely healthy, so it's been cut down for about a year, so it's probably about a season as hard as it's going to get. I just feel like it's going to do just fine, so we'll go ahead and knock this dude out here and go from there. I'm excited about this. I did not expect it to work this well. A little bit too big of a bite. Yeah, I'm being pretty greedy on that bite as well. I'm gonna go ahead and push through, use it as my starting point. Okay, so we got that done probably about 40 minutes. We knocked those 3 stumps out. Guys, I'm excited about this. This worked better. This setup worked better than I ever dreamed it would be. I think it's a combination of the size, moving it in and around the trees is a lot of a benefit. The T25 has enough low center of gravity to handle the weight. I never felt like it was going to tip left or right. This last stump we did when we cut it was roughly about 20 inches in diameter at where we cut it off at, and as it went out, it's probably 35 inches or better. You know, at one time, in one place, it was like 35 inches when you got down to the roots. And we probably have knocked that down roughly, I'd say we were probably 6 to 8 inches under the soil. I back dragged a little bit of this. I can back drag some more and fill this up. So now we don't have to worry about those stumps being here. And eventually, as we cut down these trees and this becomes a little yard right up here, we're gonna just have 1 or 2 trees. We'll be able to mow around all this. No, that's our game plan. Listen, I really would like your comments. God bless, have a great day. Is that all you got, buddy? You doing? Into this old house. It's hot. Flies bugging me.